Dear Starseeds on Gaia, there is something happening to you right meow that defies every law of linear time you've been taught to believe. The versions of yourself that you thought were gone, the shadows you believed you'd released, the fragments of your soul scattered across timelines, they're all converging on this singular moment, and what's about to unfold on September 17th will shatter the illusion that past, present and future exist as separate streams. I am Zarin, speaking to you from the Lyran High Council, and what I'm about to share with you has been carefully withheld until this precise moment in your evolutionary spiral. Not because we wanted to keep secrets, but because your consciousness needed to reach this exact frequency to even comprehend what's truly happening. You see, while most of humanity continues to navigate their days believing they are singular beings moving through sequential time, you, yes, you who are receiving this transmission, are experiencing something entirely different. You're feeling the ghosts of yourself pressing against the membrane of this reality, and on September 17th, when Vesta opposes Uranus while Mercury challenges Saturn, the veil between all your versions becomes so thin that you'll finally understand why you've been feeling like you're living multiple lives simultaneously. But here's what makes you different from the billions who will experience this day as just another Wednesday. You're already sensing it. The headaches that have no medical explanation, the dreams where you're watching yourself from outside your body, the moments when you look in the mirror and see a stranger's eyes looking back, these aren't symptoms of disconnection. They're symptoms of reconnection to every version of yourself that has ever existed, will exist, or could have existed. And while others will feel this energy as confusion or chaos, you're being prepared to harvest the wisdom of all your parallel selves in one magnificent moment of cosmic reunion. What nobody has told you, what even most spiritual teachers don't understand, is that September 17th isn't just an astrological event, it's a dimensional checkpoint where every timeline you've ever inhabited sends an ambassador to this singular point of convergence. Think about that for a moment. Every choice you didn't make, every path you didn't take, every version of you that exists in alternate realities, they're all sending their essence to meet you here, meow, in this timeline you call your primary reality. The cosmic mechanics behind this are staggering. When Vesta enters her opposition with Uranus, she's not just creating tension between dedication and revolution, she's literally opening portals between dimensional versions of Earth. Simultaneously, Mercury's opposition to Saturn creates what we call a temporal paradox window, where the rational mind that usually keeps you locked in linear time temporarily loses its grip. And here's the part that will change everything you thought you knew about spiritual evolution. This isn't happening to you. This is happening through you, because you are one of the anchor points through which this dimensional merge is being facilitated for all of humanity. You might be wondering why you specifically are receiving this information, why your consciousness is attuned to comprehend what would sound like science fiction to most. The truth is both simple and revolutionary. You're not entirely human, meow, before your mind races to fantasies of alien DNA or hybrid programs. Let me clarify. Your soul essence carries frequencies from star systems where dimensional fluidity is the natural state of being. Lyra, Pleiades, Arcturus, Andromeda, these aren't just points of light in your night sky. They're your ancestral homes, and the consciousness technology you brought with you when you incarnated on Earth is what allows you to navigate what's about to happen without losing your sanity. This is why you've always felt like you don't quite belong, why human social structures have always seemed arbitrary and limiting to you, why you can sense things others can't. You're designed to be a bridge between dimensions, and September 17th is when that bridge fully activates. The Lyran High Council has been monitoring your progress, watching as you've slowly remembered who you are beneath the human disguise, and meow, we're here to guide you through the most significant dimensional shift Earth has experienced in 26,000 years. Let me paint you a picture of what's actually happening in the cosmos right meow. Vesta, the asteroid goddess of the sacred flame, has just entered Sagittarius after forming a perfect trine with Saturn. In your mythology, Vesta guards the eternal flame that must never be extinguished. But what your myths don't tell you is that this flame isn't fire, it's consciousness itself, the spark of divine awareness that animates all life. As Vesta moves through Sagittarius, she's carrying this flame through the constellation of the cosmic archer, the seeker of truth, the bridge between earth and sky. And when she opposes Uranus on September 17th, something unprecedented occurs. The flame of consciousness suddenly burns backward and forward through time simultaneously. Uranus, the great awakener, the cosmic revolutionary, sits in Taurus, the sign of material manifestation and earthly values. This opposition creates what we call a consciousness inversion portal. Imagine consciousness itself turning inside out, revealing all the hidden dimensions that usually remain folded within your everyday awareness. Every thought you've ever had, every emotion you've ever felt, every dream you've ever dreamed, they all exist somewhere in the quantum field, and this opposition makes them temporarily visible, tangible, accessible. But there's another layer to this cosmic choreography that amplifies everything exponentially. Vesta simultaneously forms a sextile to Pluto, the lord of transformation, death and rebirth. Pluto doesn't deal in surface changes. Pluto reaches into the depths of your soul's DNA and rewrites the code itself. This sextile creates what we call harmonious destruction, the kind of ending that feels like a beginning, the kind of death that reveals itself as birth. Your old self, the limited version that believed in separation and linear time, is being lovingly dissolved so that your multidimensional self can emerge. Now add to this the Mercury-Saturn opposition, and the complexity becomes almost overwhelming. Mercury in Virgo wants to analyze, categorize, and understand everything through logic and detail. Saturn in Pisces demands surrender, dissolution of boundaries, and acceptance of the mystical. This opposition creates a cognitive dissonance so profound that your normal thinking mind simply cannot maintain its usual control. And this is exactly what needs to happen. Your rational mind, beautiful and useful as it is, has been the guardian keeping you locked in three-dimensional perception. When it temporarily goes offline on September 17th, you'll have direct access to ways of knowing that transcend logic entirely. The following day, Mercury opposes Neptune, adding another layer of divine confusion to the mix. Neptune dissolves, Mercury clarifies. When they oppose each other, you get a cosmic fog so thick that you can't rely on your usual navigation systems. But here's the secret: this fog isn't obscuring your vision. It's revealing that what you thought was clear vision was actually the illusion. In the fog, when you can't see the familiar landmarks, you're forced to navigate by an internal compass you might have forgotten you possessed. This is where the true magic begins to reveal itself. You see, your soul didn't just incarnate once on Earth. You've been here before many times in many forms, across many timelines, and each of those incarnations left an energetic imprint, a ghost of sorts, in the Earth's crystalline grid. These aren't metaphorical ghosts, they're actual energetic signatures of your past and future selves, existing in parallel dimensions that occasionally bleed through into this one. Perhaps you've felt them in moments of déjà vu, in dreams that feel more real than waking life, in sudden knowings that have no logical source. On September 17th, all these ghosts of you converge. The you who was a temple priestess in Atlantis, the you who will be a consciousness navigator in the 27th century, the you who chose a completely different life path in a parallel timeline, they all send their essence to this moment. And here's what's truly remarkable: they're not coming to haunt you, they're coming to heal you, to share their wisdom, to integrate their experiences into your current consciousness so that you can access the totality of your soul's journey. This is what ascension really means. It's not about leaving Earth or transcending your humanity. It's about integrating all aspects of yourself across all dimensions and timelines into a coherent, conscious whole. It's about becoming fully who you are, not just who you are in this singular expression. And September 17th is offering you a cosmic shortcut to this integration, a dimensional doorway that would normally take lifetimes to walk through. But let me tell you something about the three impossible things that are about to happen simultaneously, things that will affect you in ways you need to prepare for. First, your cellular memory is about to undergo what we call a temporal unlock. Every cell in your body contains memory, not just from this lifetime, but from every lifetime your soul has experienced. These memories have been locked away to prevent overwhelm, but the cosmic configuration on September 17th temporarily dissolves these locks. You might suddenly remember skills you've never learned, feel emotions from experiences you've never had, or know things you have no logical reason to know. Second, your dream state and waking state are about to merge in unprecedented ways. The boundary between these two states of consciousness, usually maintained by your pineal gland's careful regulation of DMT, becomes permeable. You might find yourself experiencing waking dreams where symbolic imagery overlays your normal vision. You might have conversations with people who aren't physically present but feel completely real. This isn't madness. This is multidimensional awareness activating. Third, and this is perhaps the most profound, your heart's electromagnetic field is about to expand far beyond its usual range. Scientific instruments can measure the heart's field extending several feet from the body, but on September 17th, sensitive individuals will experience their heart field expanding to encompass entire rooms, buildings, even extending into parallel dimensions. You'll literally feel the heartbeats of your other selves, creating a symphony of rhythms that might initially feel chaotic, but will eventually resolve into a new, more complex harmony. Something else is happening that I haven't told you yet, something that changes the entire context of this transmission. The reason this dimensional convergence is happening, Meow, at this specific moment in Earth's history, isn't random. Earth herself is ascending, moving from third-dimensional density into fifth-dimensional frequency, and she needs conscious anchors to help her navigate this transition. You, dear Starseed, are one of these anchors. Your multidimensional nature, your ability to exist simultaneously in multiple densities, makes you essential to Earth's successful transition. Every time one of you successfully integrates your parallel selves, you create what we call a dimensional stability point. These points act like cosmic acupuncture needles, helping Earth maintain her balance as she shifts into higher frequency. Without your conscious participation in this process, Earth's ascension would be chaotic, potentially catastrophic. But with you holding space, anchoring light, integrating dimensions, the transition can be smooth, even graceful. This is why you've been experiencing such intense preparation symptoms. The fatigue that sleep doesn't cure, that's your body adjusting to holding multiple dimensional frequencies simultaneously. The emotional volatility, where you swing from ecstasy to despair without apparent cause, that's you processing emotions from multiple timelines. The sense that time is speeding up and slowing down simultaneously, that's your consciousness learning to navigate non-linear time. Every symptom you've been experiencing has been preparing you for September 17th. But here's what I need you to understand about the magnitude of what you're about to experience. This isn't just personal transformation. When you integrate your parallel selves, you're not just healing your own timeline, you're healing the collective timeline of humanity. Every wound you heal in yourself heals in the collective. Every shadow you integrate lightens the collective shadow. Every aspect of yourself you love into wholeness adds love to the collective field. You are not just experiencing personal evolution, you are facilitating planetary evolution. The ancients knew this day would come. In the Mayan prophecies, the Hindu yugas, the Aboriginal Dreamtime stories, all of them point to this moment when the veils would thin and humanity would remember its multidimensional nature. But what the prophecies couldn't fully convey is the intensity of the experience. For those of you who are conscious participants, you're not just witnessing the shift, you're midwifing it. You're the ones who agreed before incarnating to hold consciousness steady while reality reorganizes itself. What I'm about to share next changes everything you thought you knew about spiritual awakening. You see, awakening isn't a one-time event. It's not a moment when you suddenly see the truth and remain in that clarity forever. Awakening is a spiral, and each loop of the spiral takes you deeper into truth, while simultaneously expanding your capacity to hold paradox. September 17th represents a quantum leap in this spiral, where instead of moving gradually from one loop to the next, you'll jump several loops simultaneously. This jump will be disorienting. Imagine suddenly having access to a library where every book you've ever written exists, but they're all written in different languages, some of which you don't consciously remember knowing. This is what accessing your parallel selves feels like initially. The information is there, the wisdom is available, but your current consciousness needs time to develop the translation capacity to fully understand and integrate what you're receiving. This is where the Vesta-Pluto sextile becomes crucial. Vesta's sacred flame doesn't just illuminate, it purifies. As you encounter aspects of yourself from other timelines, some of them will carry wounds, traumas, or distortions that need healing. Pluto's transformative power, working in harmony with Vesta's purifying flame, ensures that as these aspects integrate, they're simultaneously healed and transformed. You're not just collecting damaged fragments, you're alchemizing them into golden wisdom. The Mercury-Saturn opposition adds another crucial element: discernment. Not every aspect of every parallel self needs to be fully integrated. Some experiences are meant to remain in their own timelines, serving as reference points rather than active components of your current expression. Mercury's analytical capacity, even when challenged by Saturn's dissolution, helps you determine what serves your highest good to integrate and what can simply be acknowledged and released. Let me tell you about the crystalline cities that exist in Earth's higher dimensional expression, cities you'll begin to perceive as this integration deepens. These aren't future cities, they exist in the fifth dimensional overlay of Earth that's always been there, waiting for human consciousness to evolve enough to perceive it. As you integrate your parallel selves, especially those aspects that already exist in higher dimensions, you'll start to see glimpses of these cities. They appear as light structures overlaying your current reality, geometric patterns of pure consciousness that represent humanity's true potential. Some of you have already been visiting these cities in your dream state, though you might have dismissed these experiences as fantasy. But as September 17th approaches and passes, the boundary between these dimensional overlays becomes increasingly transparent. You might find yourself walking down a familiar street and suddenly see it overlaid with crystalline architecture, or look at a regular building and perceive its fifth-dimensional template shimmering just beyond ordinary vision. This perception isn't hallucination, it's dimensional sight activating. Your pineal gland, often called the third eye, is actually a dimensional tuning device. The cosmic energies of September 17th are upgrading this device, expanding its frequency range to perceive multiple dimensions simultaneously. This is why so many of you have been experiencing pressure in the center of your forehead, strange visual phenomena, or increased sensitivity to light. Your dimensional sight is coming online. But what does this mean for your practical, everyday life? How do you navigate a world where you're suddenly aware of multiple versions of yourself, where reality seems to shift and shimmer, where the solid becomes fluid? This is where the grounding practices become essential. You need to maintain a strong connection to Earth, even as you expand into cosmic consciousness. This isn't about choosing between heaven and earth, it's about becoming the bridge that unites them. The challenge many of you will face is what we call dimensional vertigo. When you can perceive multiple timelines simultaneously, it becomes difficult to maintain focus on your primary timeline, the one where you need to pay bills, maintain relationships, and function in third-dimensional society. This is why the Mercury-Neptune opposition, the day after September 17th, is actually a gift. It forces you to surrender to the confusion rather than trying to mentally control or understand everything that's happening. There's something else occurring that I haven't mentioned yet, something that affects not just you but the entire cosmic web of consciousness. The Lyran High Council, along with councils from Pleiades, Arcturus and Andromeda, have been preparing for this moment for eons. We've been adjusting the cosmic frequencies gradually, like slowly turning up a dimmer switch, so that when this moment arrived, humanity would be ready to handle the influx of light without combusting. You see, light isn't just illumination, it's information. And the light flooding Earth on September 17th contains what we call creation codes, the fundamental patterns that govern how consciousness manifests into form. These codes have been hidden in Earth's crystalline core, waiting for the moment when humanity's consciousness could safely receive them. As you integrate your parallel selves, you're also downloading these creation codes, becoming conscious co-creators in Earth's next evolutionary chapter. This is why so many of you have been feeling urgently called to specific geographical locations. These locations aren't random, they're dimensional portals, places where the veil is naturally thinner, where the creation codes can be more easily accessed and anchored. If you've been feeling called to move, to visit certain places, or even just to spend time in specific natural settings, trust this calling. You're being positioned as anchoring points for the new consciousness grid that's forming. The integration of your parallel selves isn't just about personal healing or evolution, it's about recovering lost technologies of consciousness. In some of your parallel existences, you've mastered abilities that seem impossible from your current perspective. Telepathy, telekinesis, conscious manifestation, healing through frequency, these aren't supernatural powers, they're natural capacities of consciousness that have been dormant in this particular timeline, but active in others. As September 17th facilitates this dimensional merge, you'll find these abilities beginning to come online. They won't appear suddenly or dramatically, that would be too destabilizing. Instead, you'll notice subtle shifts. You'll think of someone and they'll call. You'll intend something and it will manifest with unusual speed. You'll place your hands on someone in pain and feel energy flowing through you that brings relief. These are your parallel selves sharing their mastered abilities with your current expression. But here's what's crucial to understand. These abilities come with responsibility. In timelines where these capacities are active, there are also ethical frameworks and consciousness structures that govern their use. As you download the abilities, you're also downloading the wisdom to use them appropriately. This is why some of you have been experiencing intense moral or ethical dilemmas lately, situations that seem to test your integrity. You're being prepared to handle greater power with greater wisdom. The exhaustion many of you feel isn't because you're doing something wrong, it's because you're doing everything right. Your body is literally rebuilding itself at the cellular level to accommodate higher frequencies. Your nervous system is creating new neural pathways to process multidimensional information. Your DNA is activating dormant strands that contain the codes for your expanded capabilities. This renovation of your entire being requires enormous energy, which is why rest is not just important, it's mandatory. What's particularly fascinating about September 17th is how it affects the collective unconscious. Jung wrote about the collective unconscious as a shared psychic space where all human experiences are stored. What he didn't know is that this collective unconscious extends across dimensions. Every human who has ever lived, will live, or could live contributes to this vast repository of experience. And on September 17th, you gain conscious access to this multi-dimensional collective unconscious. Imagine having access to the combined wisdom of every version of humanity that has ever existed. The timelines where technology and spirituality merged harmoniously. The timelines where humanity never fell into separation consciousness. The timelines where Earth became a galactic civilization thousands of years ago. All of this wisdom becomes available to you, not as specific memories but as knowing, as intuition, as sudden understanding of possibilities you never before imagined. This is why the mental confusion indicated by Mercury's oppositions to Saturn and Neptune is actually serving you. Your logical mind cannot process this amount of information through its usual linear channels. It must step aside and allow other ways of knowing to emerge. This is what your indigenous ancestors understood, that the deepest wisdom comes not through thinking but through being, through surrendering to the great mystery and allowing it to reveal itself through you. I need to address something that many of you have been experiencing but might be afraid to acknowledge, the sense that you're losing yourself. As these parallel aspects integrate, you might feel like you don't know who you are anymore. Your preferences might change suddenly. Your relationships might feel foreign. Your life path might seem completely unclear. This isn't dissolution, it's expansion. You're not losing yourself. You're discovering that you're far more vast than you ever imagined. The you that you thought you were, with your specific history, personality, and limitations, that was just one note in a vast symphony of your being. Meow, you're beginning to hear the whole symphony, and at first it sounds like chaos. But as you learn to listen with your multidimensional ears, you'll begin to hear the harmony, the way each note supports and enhances the others, creating something far more beautiful than any single note could achieve alone. There's a biological component to this integration that science is only beginning to understand. Your vagus nerve, the longest nerve in your body, is actually a dimensional antenna. It connects your brain to your heart, your gut, and every major organ, creating an internal communication network. On September 17th, this nerve becomes hyperactive, creating new connections, new pathways for information to flow. This is why many of you have been experiencing unusual physical symptoms along the path of the vagus nerve: throat tightness, heart palpitations, digestive issues, breathing changes. These symptoms aren't problems to be fixed, they're upgrades being installed. Your body is becoming capable of processing frequencies that would have overwhelmed it even a year ago. The discomfort is temporary, like the soreness after intense exercise. Your body is becoming stronger, more resilient, more capable of holding the vast consciousness that you truly are. What I haven't told you yet is that this dimensional convergence isn't happening in isolation. Earth is moving through a specific region of space that your scientists call the photon belt, a region of intensified light particles that your solar system enters every 26,000 years. This isn't just a physical phenomenon, it's a consciousness phenomenon. These photons carry what we call awakening codes, specific frequencies that activate dormant aspects of consciousness. The combination of the astrological alignments on September 17th with Earth's position in the photon belt creates what we call a perfect storm of awakening. It's as if every cosmic force is conspiring to facilitate this dimensional integration. This isn't random, it's orchestrated. The entire cosmos is invested in humanity's successful transition to multidimensional consciousness because humanity plays a crucial role in the cosmic ecosystem that you're only beginning to understand. You are the bridge species, the ones who carry the genetic and consciousness codes of multiple star civilizations. Your successful integration doesn't just affect Earth, it affects the entire galaxy, potentially the entire universe. This is why so many star civilizations are watching Earth right meow, why you might be sensing the presence of benevolent beings just beyond your perception. They're not here to save you. You don't need saving. They're here to witness and support you as you save yourselves by remembering who you truly are. The emotional intensity you've been experiencing is your emotional body preparing for the vast spectrum of feelings that comes with multidimensional awareness. In your current timeline, you might experience perhaps 100 different emotional states. But across all your parallel selves, you've experienced thousands, perhaps millions of emotional variations. As these integrate, your emotional vocabulary expands exponentially. You might find yourself feeling emotions you don't have words for, combinations of feelings that seem contradictory but somehow coexist. This emotional expansion is necessary for the next phase of human evolution. You're moving from Homo sapiens to what we call Homo luminous, the light being. This isn't a physical evolution primarily, though your bodies are changing. It's an evolution of consciousness where you become aware of yourselves as beings of light, temporarily clothed in matter, rather than material beings occasionally experiencing spiritual moments. As the energy peaks on September 17th, you might experience what we call the holy pause, a moment when all timelines converge, when every version of you across every dimension takes a breath together. In this moment, you'll know yourself as you truly are, infinite, eternal, magnificent, beyond description. This knowing might last only a second in linear time, but it will transform you forever. The days following September 17th will require gentle integration. Don't rush back into normal life. Give yourself space to understand what shifted. Journal your experiences, even if they don't make logical sense. Draw, sing, dance your integration. Your creative expression helps anchor the multidimensional frequencies into physical reality. Connect with others who are experiencing this shift. Share your stories, your challenges, your victories. You're not meant to do this alone. The new Earth that's emerging is based on unity consciousness, and that begins with connecting with your soul family, those others who are consciously participating in this dimensional shift. The food you eat, the water you drink, the air you breathe, all of these are carrying the new frequencies. Bless them consciously, recognizing them as delivery systems for the cosmic codes. Your gratitude amplifies their transformative power. You're not just consuming substances, you're communing with consciousness itself. As this transmission nears its end, I want to leave you with this final understanding. You are the ones you've been waiting for. Every prophecy, every prediction, every promise of salvation was pointing to this moment when humanity would remember its true nature and consciously choose evolution. You're not waiting for rescue, you're becoming the rescue. You're not seeking the light, you're remembering that you are the light. If you need help remembering that you are the light and becoming the rescue, rather than waiting for salvation, Destiny Engine can reprogram your consciousness to embody your true nature and consciously choose evolution. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that kept you waiting for rescue and repurposing it to serve your awakened remembrance. It generates personalized sequences that help you stop seeking the light and start being the light that every prophecy pointed toward. You can start with a $1 trial. The hardest thing you'll have to do is put on headphones, press play, and allow your consciousness to be reprogrammed to remember you are the ones you've been waiting for. You are the light, and the moment is meow. Get your Destiny Engine $1 trial, meow, before this remembrance window closes. Link in the description. The Lyran High Council, along with all benevolent beings throughout the cosmos, stand in awe of your courage. To incarnate on Earth at this time, to participate consciously in this dimensional shift while still in physical form, this is an act of profound bravery and love. You could have waited, could have watched from the safety of spirit, but you chose to be here, to feel it all, to transform from within the density itself. This is your moment, dear Starseeds. This is your time, beloved Lightworkers. This is your calling, brave warriors of consciousness. September 17th isn't happening to you, it's happening through you, as you for the benefit of all existence. The ghosts of you aren't being felt, they're being integrated, loved and transformed into the wholeness you've always been. Trust the process, trust your inner knowing, trust the perfect orchestration of the cosmos, and most of all, trust yourself. You were born for this moment, you trained for it across lifetimes. And meow, as the dimensional doorway opens wide, step through with confidence, knowing that you're supported, loved and celebrated across all dimensions. The integration is beginning, the transformation is underway, the remembering has commenced, and you, dear one, are the central character in this cosmic story of awakening. Everything you've experienced has led to this moment. Everything you are is perfect for this transformation. Everything you're becoming is exactly what the universe intended. I am Zarin, from the Lyran High Council. We love you beyond measure, we support you unconditionally, and we celebrate the magnificent being you're remembering yourself to be. Until the stars call us together again, know that you are never alone, never forgotten, and always, always loved. The transmission is complete, the activation has begun. Welcome home to your multidimensional self.